When a rich kid's punch to the wrong face put me in his family's crosshairs, I thought I'd seen the worst. Turns out, the Westmores don't just fight dirty. They rewrite the rulebook. Now, with my career hanging by a thread and threats hitting close to home, I'm about to learn just how far power and money can twist the truth. And trust me, this nightmare, it's only getting started. I'm Derek Jameson, 32, a black cop in LA. Trust me, being a black guy with a badge here is like juggling flaming knives. You're always one slip away from disaster. So it's a sweltering afternoon. I'm dealing with the usual chaos. When I get the call, a fight at the Silver Leaf, the kind of place where the rich play king and queen. I show up, and there he is, a tall white guy in a designer suit, towering over a bleeding waiter, while the crowd records every second like it's a reality show. I step in, tell everyone to back off. The guy turns, sneers, and shoves me. Yep, full entitlement mode. I cuff him, and he spits out, "You'll regret this. My father will make sure of it." That chill down my spine? Yeah, it wasn't just the heat. So, I get Bradley Westmore. Yeah, that Westmore, heir to one of the city's wealthiest families, back to the station. The moment we walk in, the place goes dead silent. Colleagues exchange nervous looks, and even the captain, usually tough as nails, pulls me aside. "Derek, do you realize what kind of mess this is?" he whispers, clearly stressed. Bradley, meanwhile, is lounging in the holding area, looking bored rather than scared. "My dad's gonna fix this," he smirks, and you can tell he believes every word. And he's right. In no time, a high-powered attorney waltzes in, smooth as can be, and Bradley's out on bail before I can even process what's happening. The tension is suffocating. Colleagues start whispering about how I've probably made an enemy of the wrong family. Outside, my phone buzzes with messages. News of the arrest is already blowing up, and everyone's got an opinion. I lean against my patrol car, feeling the pressure and realizing this storm is only just beginning. The next morning, I'm yanked out of bed by frantic knocking. I open the door to find two fellow officers, James and Mike, looking freaked out. "Derek, you're in deep trouble," James says, eyes darting around. Turns out Bradley's family isn't wasting any time. They've launched a campaign against me, claiming I used excessive force. The media is having a field day, and talk of a suspension is already spreading. Worse yet, my family's now in the crosshairs. My younger brother Josh, who's just trying to get through college, received anonymous threats telling him to keep his brother in check. The pressure is unreal. Later I talk to my dad, the old civil rights warrior. He tells me, "Stand your ground, but be smart. These people don't play fair." He's right. I'm facing a storm I can't control, and it's coming at me from every direction. All right, so the pressure? It's getting real. By now it feels like I'm carrying a boulder on my back, and every step I take just makes it heavier. The station is a minefield. Colleagues who used to joke around with me now either avoid eye contact or give me those pity-filled glances, like I'm a sinking ship. Even the captain can barely look at me without sighing. It's like I've become the lead actor in a tragedy, and everyone's waiting for the final act. At home, things aren't much better. My phone buzzes nonstop with calls and messages. Some are from friends asking if I'm okay, but most are from reporters, or worse, random people sending me hate. "You think you're above the law?" one message reads. Another says, "This city doesn't need cops like you." Each one feels like a punch to the gut. One evening, I'm sitting alone in my apartment, the glow of the city lights sneaking through the blinds. My mind is racing. Did I make a mistake? Did I really follow the rules, or am I just convincing myself I did? Self-doubt is a sneaky thing, and it's starting to whisper in my ear, making me question everything. I think back to when I joined the force, all bright-eyed and ready to make a difference. Now I feel like I'm in a boxing match, only it's me against a system that doesn't care who wins or loses. My dad's words echo in my head. Stay strong, but don't let them break you. Easy to say, but when the world seems stacked against you, holding on feels nearly impossible. Just when I think I'm at my breaking point, there's a knock at the door. It's Liza, one of the few friends I still trust at the station. "Derek, you look terrible," she says, half joking but clearly worried. She hands me a folder. I pulled some strings and got you these, she says. It's evidence, real, solid proof that I did nothing wrong. But even with that in my hands, the doubt and fear don't magically disappear. Because here's the thing, it's not just about what's true anymore. It's about who can shout the loudest, and right now Bradley's family has the megaphone. If there's one thing that keeps me from completely losing it, it's my family. But even that's starting to feel shaky. I head over to my dad's house one evening, needing a break from the chaos. My dad, Mr. Old School Fighter for Justice, is sitting on the porch, his eyes sharp despite his age. "Come on up, Derek," he says, a slight smile breaking through his usual serious expression. He's been through his own battles, so he gets it. I sit down, and before I can even say a word, he's already reading me. "Tough week?" he asks, though it's more of a statement. I let out a long sigh. "Yeah, Dad, that's an understatement." I lay it all out for him, the accusations, the media circus, the threats. He listens, nodding, not interrupting once. "Look," he finally says, leaning forward. "They're testing you, pushing you to see how far they can bend you before you break. But you come from strong roots, Derek. Remember that." It's supposed to be comforting, and part of me clings to his words, but another part wonders how much longer I can keep from snapping under the pressure. Then there's my younger brother, Josh. He's 19, trying to stay focused on college, but all this mess is making him a target. He's been getting dirty looks on campus, and one day a group of guys even cornered him to throw around some not-so-friendly remarks about me. When he tells me, I feel my blood boil, but he just shrugs it off. "Don't sweat it, big bro," he says, trying to be tough. But I can see the worry in his eyes. Meanwhile, my reputation is getting slammed left and right. The headlines are relentless, twisting the story to make me look like the villain. Even people I thought knew me are buying into the lies. Old friends are keeping their distance, and colleagues whisper behind my back. It's like every accomplishment I ever earned has been erased overnight. But then there's my mom, the quiet anchor of the family. She calls me just to say she's praying for me, reminding me that no matter what, she's got my back. It's these small reminders of support that keep me from falling apart, even as the world seems determined to paint me as the enemy. As I drive back home, I realize something. The hits to my reputation hurt, but it's the fear of letting my family down that weighs the heaviest. Just when I'm starting to think it's me against the world, something surprising happens. I'm sitting at a nearly empty diner, nursing a coffee that's more bitter than my current mood, when this guy slides into the booth across from me. He's got that whole I mean business vibe, complete with a leather jacket and a no-nonsense stare. I recognize him instantly. Mike Carter, the journalist who's made a name for himself taking down the big and powerful. "Derek, right?" he says, as if we're old friends. I blink, trying to figure out what he wants from me. Journalists usually mean trouble, but Mike doesn't look like he's here for a casual chat. "Mind if I join?" he asks, though he's already making himself comfortable. "What's this about?" I ask, wary. Mike leans in, lowering his voice. "I've been following your case," he says. "Bradley Westmore and his family? They're not exactly saints, you know. I've been itching to expose their dirty laundry for years, but no one's ever had the guts to stand up to them. Until now." Okay. Color me surprised. I thought I was just some small-time cop caught in a hurricane I didn't ask for. But here's this well-known journalist, and he's actually offering to help? "Why me?" I ask, still skeptical. Mike raises an eyebrow. "Because you did the right thing, and they're trying to bury you for it. People need to know the truth." I can't lie, it's tempting, but I'm also not naive. "And what's in it for you?" I challenge. He chuckles, but there's no humor in it. "A good story, sure. But also, I don't like bullies, especially the kind who think money makes them untouchable." He slides a business card across the table. "Think about it." I sit there, card in hand, as he leaves. The idea of having a journalist on my side feels like playing with fire. If this goes wrong, it could make everything 10 times worse. But if it works, maybe, just maybe, I could turn the tables. Later, I'm back at home staring at Mike's card. My mind races. Teaming up with a journalist feels risky, like putting my life story in someone else's hands. But at this point, I'm out of options. The Westmores have every advantage, and I need something. Someone. to even the odds. Finally, I pick up my phone and dial the number. Mike answers on the first ring. "I'm in," I say, my voice steadier than I feel. On the other end, I can almost hear him smile. "Good," he replies. "Let's make some noise." All right, so teaming up with Mike Carter? That was just the beginning. Now it's go time. And I've got to pull together every scrap of evidence to prove I'm not the villain they're making me out to be. The first stop is the Silver Leaf restaurant. I'm back, but this time I'm not dealing with chaos. Instead, I'm mostly politely, asking around, trying to get statements from anyone who saw the whole mess go down. A couple of waitstaff are hesitant, eyes darting around like they're scared someone's watching, but one brave soul finally spills. "Yeah, Bradley was out of control," she says, voice low. "You did what you had to." Next, I link up with Liza at the station. She's my ride or die in this mess, still risking her own neck to help me. She hands over more files, her face serious. "These are surveillance logs from nearby buildings," she says. "They show the lead up to the fight. Might not be a smoking gun, but it's something." I nod, feeling a flicker of hope. But then comes the tricky part. Finding witnesses who won't suddenly change their stories when faced with Westmore's lawyers. Mike's digging up dirt too, working his network like a pro. "These people have skeletons in their closets," he tells me. "We just need to rattle a few doors and see what falls out." His confidence is reassuring, but I know this is a dangerous game. As we piece things together, I feel the weight lifting just a bit. It's still risky, and the Westmores have a lot more to lose. But for the first time in weeks, I feel like I've got a fighting chance. It all comes down to this. The day of Mike's big reveal arrives, and the tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. We're set up at an old community center, and the room is packed with journalists, activists, and curious locals. Mike stands at the front, looking calm, but I can feel the adrenaline coursing through my veins. He starts laying it out piece by piece, witness statements, surveillance footage, and even a few dirtier secrets he managed to dig up on the Westmores. It's like watching a master artist paint a picture, and each new fact hits the audience like a punch. You can hear the collective intake of breath when he gets to the part where Bradley's team tried to silence witnesses. It's huge. But then, right when we think we're making headway, the double doors fly open. In walks a lawyer from the Westmore family, flanked by security. My heart drops. "This is a circus," he declares, voice booming, "and we demand it stop." For a second, doubt creeps in, but then something wild happens. The people in the room start murmuring, then clapping. Support is building, right in front of us. That's when I realize, the truth is out there now. No amount of money or intimidation can fully bury it. The lawyer's face turns a shade paler, and he storms out, knowing the damage has been done. After the dust settles, I step outside, the evening air cool on my face. Mike joins me, a satisfied grin on his face. "You did good, Derek," he says. "It's not a full victory, the fight's not over, but we've taken a stand, and that counts for something." As I look out over the city, I feel a spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, change is possible.